This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Monday, the 1st of July, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. A hurricane warning red level is in effect for Tobago. The advisory issued at 5 this morning. This means there's a higher potential for hurricane conditions, including sustained winds in excess of 118 kilometers per hour within the warning areas, in this case within the next 7 hours. As at 5 a.m., Hurricane Beryl was located 11.7 degrees north, 59.9 degrees west, approximately 93 kilometers northeast of Tobago, and moving west near 31 kilometers per hour. Periods of showers and gusty winds have been observed, and further deterioration is expected with gusts in excess of 70 kilometers per hour. There is a high chance and 90% of hazardous seas with large battering waves. Mariners should expect wave heights to increase significantly, posing dangers to small craft. Coastal and offshore activities, strong currents and choppy seas will also make navigation hazardous. And Tobago is also under a state of emergency as the sister island prepares for the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Confirmation of this from Chief Secretary Fali Augustin. He made a disclosure during a news briefing held yesterday, Sunday. Augustin revealed on Monday all schools in Tobago today, where the private and public will remain closed. And Trinidad is presently under a tropical storm orange warning. This means there's a high potential for tropical storm conditions, including sustained winds of 63 to 118 kilometers per hour within the warning area over the next 7 hours. As at 5 a.m., Beryl was located 11.7 degrees north, 59.9 degrees west. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management indicated it's liaising with various stakeholders to ensure efficient responses to situations which may arise because of the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Retired Major General and Chief Executive Officer of the ODPM, Rodney Sparr, said he's working with several bodies from civil societies in the public and private sectors. Mr. Smart said the national agencies have confirmed their readiness. Schools in both Trinidad and Tobago will remain closed today, Monday, 1st July, because of conditions associated with Hurricane Beryl. The Education Ministry confirmed in a media release issued yesterday afternoon. The ministry noted the decision taken as a result of the tropical storm watch issued for the island. It noted, however, unless there is a further advisory, schools will reopen tomorrow, Tuesday. In such cases, parents will be advised directly through school principals. Additionally, because of Tobago is under hurricane warning red level, the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly advised during a news briefing schools in Tobago are also closed. All public servants are expected to turn up for work today, Monday, even as Trinidad and Tobago prepares for the effect of Hurricane Beryl. Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Faris Solari, explained that there are first responders whose services will be required. Other employees in the public sector are also needed to ensure the nation's affairs continue. Don't panic, and all will be done to ensure normalcy is returned should there be flooding in low-lying areas, as well as landslips and landslides across Trinidad and Tobago. This message from Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan. He said landslides and landslips are expected, and individuals are assured the Ministry of Works and Transport is in a state of readiness to address challenges that may arise. And Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez says 7 emergency measures have been implemented, particularly in Tobago. Gonzalez appeals for citizens to get information from official sources only. He also urged the public not to panic despite the severity of the weather conditions in some areas. In news of the region, at 7 p.m. Sunday, Grenada was placed under a state of emergency due to the pending passage of Hurricane Beryl, a dangerous Category 4 hurricane projected to hit the island with storm conditions. Grenada was placed on hurricane watch at 8 p.m. on Saturday, along with Barbados, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Prime Minister of Grenada, Dixon Mitchell, in a news briefing Sunday, said citizens should pray and prepare. Further afield, a new poll suggested some Democrat voters are increasingly concerned about whether or not Joe Biden is mentally fit to serve as president after a shaky debate performance on Thursday. A CBS News YouGov poll released on Sunday indicated 72% of registered voters believe the president does not have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president, a sharp increase from 65% who said the same in an earlier poll. 49% of voters said the same of former President Donald Trump. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming up at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Neighbors, good morning, neighbors, on this first day of July. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. Of course, we'll have a full cast in. We just heard from Dr. Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Ruben and Shane in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. Hope all is well. It is 25 degrees with light rain. But you knew that already. Out at Piarco International Airport. And I don't know what happened to Crown Point. I can't seem to get Crown Point, but I'll get that to you shortly. Morning to you, Paul.
Morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
I see you're back in the office this morning. Good to see you, even though I didn't pass by, but good to see you. Of course, I will tell you that Charlottesville has got heavy winds and light rain at the moment. Crown Point in Tobago, strong winds being experienced, and not much rainfall. All right. I'll just let you know that. Of course, I don't know, boy. Last night was eerie. There was no wind whatsoever. When I came.
That's normal when you have a storm.
Yeah. No wind at all. Not even a leaf was wiggling. Not even. But I
when there's a big storm, a lot of the stuff is pulled out into the storm area. So
yeah,
there's an eerie calmness that really should not be taken as it's safe and business as usual.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, I was going to tell you, and it just went right out of my mind. Anyway, the roads are extremely quiet.
As they should be.
Extremely quiet. Hardly saw any cars, hardly saw any people, hardly saw any maxis. And I said, whoa, okay, I'm going to turn the car around. And then I said, ugh. And then I turned to that. Morning to you, Wendell Stephen.
Hi, good morning, Steve. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over this wonderful globe of ours that I suspect grocery owners have a lot to do with. I'm in a conspiracy theorist mood this morning because I swear all these images that are coming out cannot be real. There has to be a credibility issue now.
What images?
All the satellite images and the images from space and the images from all over the place. You know, it's just crazy. We've been bombarded with it, and all manner of weather channels showing up now on your timeline as to predictions and what's going on. And I mean, it's an overkill now. It's almost like everybody with a computer now become a meteorologist.
That I would agree with.
No, it's plenty you're getting.
Why are you surprised? Everybody with a computer is an economist, is a political analyst.
Yeah,
a sports analyst. So why are you surprised?
That is true.
Different.
That is true. But at one point in time, you could have trusted the weather channels. Now you can't.
You can trust legitimate weather channels if you're taking information from up. And if there's a weather channel, that's a different matter.
But you don't even know what on your timeline is legitimate anymore. Nobody don't.
Well, that's because you're taking it from social media. Go straight to the weather channel.
You don't go to social media.
Yeah, you're taking it from social media. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, that's where it's coming. So I don't go for looking for weather. You know, I ain't like Steve. You know, Steve does go looking for plane and weather. And so Steve is on.
Well, there is a hurricane hunter flying through this hurricane, measuring some stuff. It is the hurricane. I forget the term, but I'll just bring it to you, layman. The eye wall is now a second eye wall. The first one is deteriorating, which would mean a decrease in the hurricane speed, and a new one is being formed. And of course, it'll go back up. Right now, it's a Category 3. It will go back up to a Category 4.
So yesterday, we were told that the rain and everything else was 6 to 8 hours a week. But I still waiting on rain in Arima.
Yeah, it pushed it back a bit.
We get a little rain sometime this morning.
Pushed it back. Yeah. Of course, there's one hurricane hunting hurricane. A second one is going in as we speak. What I did not do was say hello to all our listeners. Good morning to you all. Of course, good morning, Wendy and James. Slick Money Grip. DJ Ray out in Delaware. Garcilia in Valencia. What's the weather like in Valencia? Oliver Man Warren. Good morning. Boy Bedesi from Chicagonas. Okay, boy. Maria Celia Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. There's a new one. Dorma Bennett. Good morning to you from Trinidad City. Brent Hackshaw. David Wares. Carol Guevara. CJ out in New York. Marcia Rock in Orlando. Rabbit, definitely. Cheryl Charles. Ambrose Blah. Brenda Isaac. Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. Bisnath Prasad. Trinidad Margot. Wayne Ramsey. Marlene Niblet. Morning to you. David Wares. Roland Bahadur. Mars versus Venus. Ian Lee in London, Joycelyn Dial Singh, Huda Wells, Joyce Malas out in Tampa. Good morning to you.
That's a new name.
Look, Samantha Rochard. Morning, Sam. Hope all is well.
Look, Samantha, boy. Hi, Samantha.
Kenny Mitchell, Dale Thomas, and Michael Edmund. Colette Finch. Good morning to you. All right. Ooh, look at WhatsApp messages.
We have a lot of new names.
Oh boy, can I go through all these messages? What's going on? Somebody go and see if Paul is okay. Sankofa, good morning. Kenwin, GNC Auto Security, Michael out in London. Captain Ron, who's home in Orlando. There's a lot. Okay, I can't read that one, but good morning to you. David Nelson, thank you for your name, David. Who's this now? Blessed morning. Okay, you need to put your name. All right, CMJ, I keep telling you that. Vincent out in London. Good morning. Whoa. Val, how you going, Val? And I have, who is this? Good morning. And this is from a lovely lady by the name of Black Pearl. Good morning to you. All right, there's some hellos and some WhatsApp. You two can WhatsApp at 318. Dan Raj, morning. At 318-1021. All right. Look at
there's some folks also in Tobago. Morning, Ted. My sister and her daughter and nephew is actually in Tobago. They went across for the island crashes. I'm surprised my son didn't go this year.
A lot of people went across for that.
Yeah, I was trying to tell them to come back by yesterday, but
that was chaos at the port.
Their flight is actually today.
Yeah,
they went across with the vehicles, so I don't know what's going to happen with that.
I know Carl has suspended all flights till 1 o'clock today. I don't know about the air bridge.
All flights? You mean to Tobago?
Yeah. Well, no. Let me just get it here. I had a message from the individual. Here we go. Media release. Ooh, gotta turn my phone this way. Due to adverse weather conditions expected with the passage of Hurricane Beryl, Caribbean Airlines advises new departure times for the following services. Everything starts at 1 o'clock today.
So does it mean that the scheduled flights for after 1 will remain on schedule, or they've been pushed back?
Well, the flights have been postponed as of last night till 1 o'clock today. So they have new times, but I'm not seeing... let's see what they're saying here. Persons traveling, waive a ticket. I'm not seeing anything regarding the air bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But I know there were a lot of people at the ferry terminal in Tobago. And what I understand is that...
it always have somebody who knows. Anthony Bramble. What I read this morning is straight off the Met services. So if you have an issue with the miles per hour and kilometers per hour, call the Met Services. It is copy and paste on the Met Services website.
And that is what we go with, not
Rose
what we
eyes.
media.
They always know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
didn't invent
ignoring
it.
that. I saw it and I ignored it.
Copied and pasted directly from the Met Services website.
So even I ignored that.
We're going to chat. We are going to chat with a few people this morning, starting with Mr. Gary Benjamin, and we'll talk to Tima, and we'll talk to ODPM, and we'll also take some of your calls. All right.
Yeah, well, a lot of folks are off. The roads are supposed to be pretty quiet today with no school.
Yeah.
I know that certain organizations have also taken a decision not to work today. I'm sure the groceries are going to be open though. I swear grocery owners are the ones coming up with these satellite images and having people rush to them and think. That's my conspiracy.
Yeah. Morning, Indy.
Yeah? You're ascribing this.
That was me being conspiracy theorist.
Wendell saying since our group chat yesterday, Wendell saying have no storm coming.
I tell you, since
yesterday. Let me do a poll. Roll eyes.
I said that's storm coming.
I don't want to encourage that. That is not to be encouraged.
Yeah.
That gives people a false sense of thing.
We talking, we giving accurate news, but on our show, whilst we talking, we can chat a bit.
I ain't about no storm coming.
Somebody done looking to blast you there for inaccurate news, but we will give the news as we
they
get
don't know what they're talking about.
We will give the news as we get it.
That is all it is.
I'm sending a picture to you guys from
Crown Services.
Let me pull up the Crown Point camera.
Somebody always know, you know.
Apparently, the rain is falling in some places, So,
yeah.
Based on what people are posting, apparently rain is falling in some places.
Yeah. It was rainfall last night.
It had a heavy rainfall last night. I didn't hear it. I just saw it when I woke up this morning. The plant pots were full.
We didn't get wind and we got very little rain here in Arima. No wind and very little rain. And Arima, trust me, is the epicenter of bad weather right after Grandy. Coming right after Grandy. Right, my birthday is today. Theodore Walters, Miss Barataria. Long time no hear from
I haven't seen Miss Barataria in so long. What are they going to look for?
Esther Francis, Laurelie Pujadas Ferguson, who was my very good friend, former Auditor General of Trinidad and Tobago, my neighbor. Happy birthday. I didn't see her exercising this morning. Happy birthday, Laurelie.
Wendell.
Huh?
You mean the Auditor General whose name we never knew?
The Auditor General who stay out of Bacchanal.
Whose name we never knew? I ain't going there.
People knew whenever they put her name in the papers with the Auditor General report. It used to be there, you know, but as I say, she stayed as Auditor General for quite a while, and no Bacchanal. She is such a decent human being. Anybody who know Laurelie will know that she is as nice a person as you could ever meet. And I'm calling her by her first name because we're friends. Kenneth Hodge, he's also celebrating his birthday today. All right? Yep, those are my birthdays.
Yeah. Barbados is experiencing some heavy wind with little rain currently.
So just to reiterate, from the Met Services, a hurricane warning, a red level is in effect for Tobago. That advisory is at 5 this morning. There's a higher potential for hurricane conditions, including sustained winds in excess of 118 kilometers per hour in the warning area for the next 7 hours. As at 5 a.m., Beryl was located 11.7 degrees north, 59.9 degrees west, approximately 93 kilometers northeast of Tobago, and moving west near 31 kilometers per hour. This is the Met Service, me and a meteorologist. Okay?
Yeah, I can't get my camera
from with the Met Services.
So is it that the storm has slowed down tremendously? Because we were hearing all the predictions that by last night we would have gotten the bad weather and the winds and so on.
What do you mean?
No, it's well, as I said this morning, the eye wall. There's a term for it. I just can't remember it right now. So the current eye wall is now dissipating, but a new eye wall is being formed, which means the speed would decrease. So it went down to a category 3. But once that new eye is formed, it'll go back up to category 4.
Or is that, because you were saying eye wall just now, you know. Is it an eye wall or an eye?
Well, they call it an eye, but they call it eyeball. Did I say wall? It's eyeball, I said.
You were saying wall. So
Let me
it's
see
ball.
if I can get the term.
Lord, you and Paul well confusing people this morning.
No, I'm reading
that. Not confusing nobody. You're being
from the
confused.
Met Office, which I checked all day yesterday. I checked this morning at 3 a.m. and I checked again at 4:30. This is the latest bulletin from Met Service, issued 5 this morning. Trinidad is under a tropical storm orange warning.
Look, Brumble in your tail again there. He's saying he put up something that's saying miles per hour.
Well, me know you get that. I could only go from the Met Services.
The most significant wind gusts of the morning from Beryl, which is recorded at Barbados at the airport observation site.
Well, obviously, Grenada would have different speeds to us, sir. I didn't do that, but people joke, yes. I'm reading from the Met Services. I will read. Well, I should take your advice. You're the meteorologist, right? This Monday morning.
Rumble is a new name, so it might be somebody just changing him, eh?
No, I wouldn't think so. Let's give the person the
hello. We have people. I recognize their language, eh? I recognize their language under different names, eh? I'm good like that, eh?
You're good like that.
I'm good like that.
Just get another picture from a Met site. No.
Today's the birthday of Farley Augustine. Okay, Augustine, Chief Secretary. All right, happy birthday, Farley Augustine. If
I was a little confused. I'm not saying he's wrong, but yesterday the newspaper was reporting through his press conference that Tobago is under state of emergency as announced by the Chief Secretary. I didn't understand the differences in the two islands being a republic.
Can he do that?
That's why I didn't know, but I didn't see the state response, so I don't know.
But you actually heard him say so?
The Express reported it yesterday.
That Farley Augustine announced a state of emergency in Tobago? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I was kind of confused. I didn't know if maybe the Chief Secretary has the authority to do that for Tobago.
Either that or to get funding.
I don't know, so I don't want to say.
Heavy rain in the Maracas.
Something that kind of make me go, You know?
All right. Well, he is pushing the envelope a lot, eh? So.
Schools in both Tobago and Trinidad are closed today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Out of an abundance of caution, schools in Tobago were closed, public and private, by the Chief Secretary yesterday. Mm-hmm. And in Trinidad, the Ministry of Education yesterday afternoon issued a release stating that schools will be closed today.
Yeah.
And are due to reopen tomorrow, unless further information is provided.
This is actually the last week of school, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is. Of course, there's another system outside of Trinidad and Tobago behind Beryl, which is getting, what they're saying is 70% chance of formation.
What that name? That ought to be a boy name then. The sea had to come as a boy.
I can't remember any names, you know.
How do they decide? I know, but it's not.
I think they go male, female, male, female.
Yeah, I'll pull it up with this now. Yeah. We will chat with Gary Benjamin shortly from the Met Services. Let me see if I get
But there is cloud cover almost all over the place, you know, because when I looked outside this morning, the place cloudy.
I was up at 3:30 and it was so calm. I went on a walk at 4 o'clock.
You walked again? You're easy.
It was so peaceful, and it gets a little still when you have a storm.
The next name is Chris. You know, why did I think that it would be Chris? Chris too said the name and storm after, you know.
The Minister of local government and rural government, what is it? Local government and rural development.
Yeah.
Said that public servants are to turn up to work today.
Yeah, they are essential.
All
the Port of
public
Spain
servants
Corporation
essential.
was hard at work yesterday because I actually had to leave a remote to come down to get water for them. They wanted cases of water. Because Rumbox do generally open on Sundays, but we had to make an exception. So I get my business partner he was down that side already. So he went and pulled out all the water. And then I waited and they came for it. So Port of Spain Corporation was on the field yesterday. They were delivering sandbags and, of course, water and tap and so on to people. So well done, Port of Spain
Corporation. It's a good test run. It's going to be a busy season.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a very hectic season as we've seen it started now.
Mm-hmm. They said that it's unusual for this level of storm to start in June, for it to start so early.
What is normal again?
True, eh?
Is anything as so-called normal again?
No.
You understand?
So very true.
Yeah. It's kind of such thing as normal again.
Christmas, somebody say Christmas. But there is a thing called Christmas in July anyway, not so? We started that a few years ago. Christmas in July, didn't we?
Is it we started that?
Well, I don't know. Well, we started doing it.
Yeah, we are easily getting wind gusts.
This is some as early as Saturday in Tobago.
Yeah, this was Saturday.
In Tobago. That's how parts of the east coast of Tobago was on Saturday.
You know, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I was doubting those images as if as recent images, because I have family in Tobago and none of them reported anything of that sort.
No, I had people who were getting heavy rains even in East Trinidad, and this was independent South Key on Friday. That's astounding.
Yeah, that happened very quickly on Friday.
Yeah, that rain just came. Boy,
isn't that crazy? In front of Central Bank there.
But there always floods.
Yep.
There and by South Key, by that new car park opposite the entrance to Central Bank Auditorium, always got water. The bottom of Edward Street coming down to UTC always have water.
Yes, off Balandra in East Trinidad was very rainy over the weekend. Very high winds.
Yeah.
What you calling East Trinidad? I live in East Trinidad.
No, further east Trinidad then.
It had to be further east. Because in Arima, we barely had anything.
David, thank you. Open the phone lines now.
Yeah. I just tried to call Alan Stewart of Team and I didn't get him.
We interviewed that man last time. It's difficult. Listen to him, you know.
No.
What does that mean, sir?
I don't know.
Can't you remember when we interviewed him?
No, I can't.
Yeah, we're going to interview somebody and the host saying he's difficult to interview. I like that.
No, you know, I don't mean difficult as in that way. Come on. In a negative way.
Difficult in a positive way.
Well, when we speak to him, you'll understand what I mean, because I think that's his style of speaking. Good morning, guys. Rain is in Roxborough right now. Roxborough, I would imagine that's in Tobago. And in the west, it is very calm. No rain, just overcast.
All right. So on the line, gentlemen, I do have Mr. Alan Stewart. Tima, good morning to you, Alan. How are you? How are things?
I am doing bunker down a bit, so we are seeing those winds are picking up. So I'm here bunker down. I am off shift at this time, but nevertheless, we are still going through the experience as the wind picks up here in Tobago.
Which part of Tobago are you right now?
So I'm currently on the northern side of Tobago, but I'm still in touch with the EOC, and we have a web-based system. Mm-hmm. Electricity is still intact, connectivity is still intact, but we have seen the possibility that these things could be negatively impacted later on in the morning. But as I say, it's now at around 6:30 in the morning, and I recognize that now is the time that we are experiencing for the past half an hour. We have seen an increase in windy conditions and heavy rainfall.
Yeah, I'm just reading here a second ago that Crown Point, the airport, just clocked a wind of 60 kilometers.
Yes,
and light
indeed.
rain.
Yeah, on the northern side, we have had some brisk powerful showers. I looked at the radar imagery, and we recognize that the center of Beryl is now located just probably 20 kilometers to the northeast of the island in terms of the center. There is a defined center now, and we can expect as it moves further to the west that we will see these wind conditions increase rapidly. In terms of incidents, however, we have had just about for the morning, we would have had about 5 incidents reported, most of which involve fallen trees. So we are currently waiting on the ease up. There is a completely blocked Annisvale Road by a fallen tree. We also know that in the Charlottesville area there is a fallen tree, and therefore the response.
Whoa, that's a loud squeal there. Right, go ahead. Yeah, in the Charlottesville area.
In the Charlottesville area, there is also reports of a fallen tree, and to the extent we don't have the details at the time to know exactly the severity of it, whether it's completely blocking the roadway. But based on the information that we have, is that it's on utility lines and causing power outages in Fort Campbellton. So we know that there is power outages in the Fort Campbellton area as a result of the fallen tree.
Mr. Stewart, good morning. Are there any reports of infrastructural damages to homes or buildings or anything like that?
Not at this time. We know I would have received 2 reports that they are loosely galvanized on a roof. People are complaining that their roof are starting to shake, and so that is an evidence that there will be some structural damages as we go closer, as the storm moves closer, as the center comes across the island. It means that it brings us closer to the radius of the storm strength winds, because we are on the southern side of the system, which is is best for us at this time, given the situation.
You just mentioned something there. Based on the radar images you are able to see, and you just said when this storm passes over the island, are you expecting, based on the present projection models, the storm to pass directly over Tobago, or is it veering northward?
It's gonna pass over Tobago. It's gonna pass north of Tobago. The eye is gonna pass north of Charlottesville. At this time, it is on the north, about 20. The center is about 20 to 25 kilometers to the northeast of Tobago, and therefore, as those winds, as it comes closer, it will bring us closer to that radius of storm strength winds, and with that, we will see a more ferocious. Also, the feeder bands, as they come around and they wrap around, we will get those probably a little bit later on in the morning. So I just want to caution persons that we are far from over. It has not yet passed us but however, it is passing to the north. So what is positive about it, colleagues, is that the system is to the north of us, and once you're on the southern side of the storm, that is the weaker side of the storm from experience.
But I'm looking at CNN now, and it's still listed as a Category 4 storm. Is that the information you have, or is it Category 3 now?
Yes, you can have. As I said, the eye wall, and the closer you get to the storm, it all depends on how far those hurricane strength winds goes out to. So we are expecting that later on in the day, Grenada will get a brunt of it if it does not pass close to, if it comes, that they may have a direct hit, and there is a possibility that they will experience those extreme strong winds.
Well, CNN is reporting that it turned Category 4 on Sunday, but by early Monday morning, it reduced slightly to a Category 3. So that's some good news. Are all systems in place in Tobago?
Yeah, we are hoping that it continues to move northeast. It means that the radius will move away from us. But at this stage, it's a little bit too early to say that we have been spared the brunt of those very high winds. But with understanding the structure of these cyclones, we know that the southern side of it is where you have the weaker winds, and at the northeastern quadrant is where you have the strong winds. Depending on how far out the radius of the winds goes in terms of its strength, the hurricane force winds, if you're closer to it on the northern end, then you will get that experience. However, for us at this stage, we are getting those tropical storm strength winds, and as the system moves closer and closer to the north, direct north of Tobago.
Mr. Stewart, is it factual? And good morning, Richard. Is it factual that a state of emergency was declared in Tobago by the Chief Secretary?
Yes.
It is. So it is a fact. A state of emergency was declared in Tobago.
Yes.
Okay.
What the Chief Secretary was, there is a condition as it relates to threats and hazards. So what you saw, if you have a Category 3, a major storm coming your way, the imminence of the threat or the hazard is what will determine whether you're in a state of emergency or not. And yes, that is the situation, and that is the case based on the information. Because one of the things you may find, well, the declaration was early, but the declaration came as a result of what is imminent, what is going to happen. So with those factors, the declaration can be made. The declaration as well, if you do it early, then it allows for certain resources and positions that that can be taken in regards to the saving of life, and it requires an emergency. You are able to suspend schools, things like that. So all of these factors feed into it based on the threat. The hazard is what dictates all of it. And if somebody tell you a Category 3, a major storm is coming your way, and you are on warning of it, it means that within 24 hours you can be impacted. So that's the best thing to do. It may happen, you don't wait until you're impacted and you can't communicate it. If there is a loss of, for example, you are speaking to me from Trinidad, but if there is a loss of electricity, a loss of internet connectivity, then therefore we cannot have this conversation. And therefore, this is what is expected as a result of these storm conditions as it deteriorates. It may deteriorate at a time in your existence or in your experience where you cannot communicate your situation until people come and do an assessment. I'm not sure if in 2004 you remember what happened with Katrina in America, where therefore the people, when they were impacted, they were unable to communicate. The state was unable to communicate with the federal government that they had to use science. And the protocol was that before the federal government gets into action, they need to be invited by the state. So you have those twists. And therefore, if you have somebody pointing a gun at you, that's the way it is. You are in an imminent threat based on your life is at stake. And this is the situation. So I think the Chief Secretary was very wise. It was a wise move. It allows for resources to move in a particular way when you make these declarations as early as possible.
All right.
Mr. Stewart, could you just remind us of what area in Tobago or areas in Tobago you said were without power at this time?
We learned that Charlottesville, there are certain parts, Campbellton, Charlottesville, that is an area in the east. And as I said before, that is expected. They are feeling the brunt of this. The Tobago is elongated, and it's like, 22 miles in terms of its length, and therefore they are closer to the storm in terms of the intensity. So they will be experiencing those winds, and we understand that tree fell on the utility lines that it has take the electricity.
And I guess these systems are in place for the public utilities response teams.
We will see conditions continue to deteriorate. The storm, in terms of its impact on the island, delayed a little bit. So while we see conditions started looking a particular way from after midnight, at this time we are seeing the bulk of it continue to increase. There is increased rainfall. There is one of the things that we were able to pick up with Beryl is that the rains, the heavy rains are on the southern side of the storm itself, the precipitation.
When do you expect the intensity to peak in Tobago? At what time generally?
When do I expect
the intensity of the storm conditions to peak, or has that happened already?
I believe it can, within a couple of hours, you can see additional stronger winds as the system moves directly. So Pitya, Charlottesville, Pitya, the angle of the island, it's run in a diagonal manner, and therefore the system itself is passing it's currently at the northeastern end of Charlottesville, and therefore we can see conditions worsen as it moves further to the west or northwest, where it brings the radius closer to Charlottesville and the island of Tobago. So it's not yet, it is located somewhere, if I could hazard a guess, and let's see if I could give you some measurements. Stand by one.
Don't update anything, right? All right.
Mr. Stewart, thank you. Of course, you have been going at it, so we appreciate your diligence.
Checking something. Yeah, he's checking something, and then we're going to Mr. Gary Benjamin right after.
Okay,
so we are seeing the center just around 11 degrees, 11.7 degrees north. That is exactly where the center is located. Charlottesville will be 11.34 degrees to the north. So it's about, and Gary will point that out to you, so I'll leave that to him to explain that phenomena a little more better than I can do. But we are monitoring it very closely, and we know that there could be some increase in these conditions as we move along early in the morning.
All right. Well, Mr. Alan Stewart, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to chat with us this morning. And of course, we'll keep in touch.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Have a great week. All right.
Alan Stewart, the head of the Tobago Emergency Management Agency, TEMA. A lot going on.
But he certainly confirmed that state of emergency is in effect in Tobago.
Yeah, but it said that. I've seen that somewhere, and that was issued somewhere.
The Express had reported it yesterday.
Yeah, we had raised it this morning.
And the state of emergency was also issued for Grenada.
Okay.
Grenada also.
We're reporting this morning,
Grenada also issued a state of emergency.
Good morning, Ragoobarsingh.
Good morning. For some reason, I had real difficulty getting on this morning. It was the app to get read the email to connect. You use that.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't opening up. I had to do a whole roundabout. It's like.
Let's say good morning going out to Mr. Gary Benjamin, a meteorologist. Good morning to you, Gary. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay so far, as well as can be, and I wish you well, all your viewers and your listeners. A
Thank you
pleasure
so
this
much.
morning.
Of course, we have Paul Richards, Wendell, Stephen, Richard Ragoobarsingh, and myself.
Yes.
First off, let us get an update on Beryl.
As it stands, the eye of Beryl is very close to the northeast of Tobago. Beryl went through eye wall replacement last night. It's just about finishing. When the eye wall is being replaced, it would be reduced in strength just a little bit, and it is expected to boost back up when the new eye wall is firmly entrenched. So it's just passing just to the north to the northeast of Tobago, very close, and it is going westward about 280 degrees westward. And as it passes through that channel, there is heading for St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Grenada, just between Grenada and Barbados would be the bulk of the weather after it passes us.
Mr. Benjamin, could you explain what you mean by the eye wall being replaced? Because I've never heard that terminology before.
Well, in all storms, in all weather phenomena, thunderstorms do not last forever. They last, basically, the theory is that they last around 45 minutes to an hour in development. And these systems are really organized. The thunderstorms are the building blocks of these systems. So they are really organized thunderstorms. So when the eye wall is developing, it would have a certain time to develop and rain out. And as the system moves and the older thunderstorms breaks down, new thunderstorms take their place as they move into different waters, whether it's warmer waters or more favorable areas for development. So the eye wall replacement is just the developing of new thunderstorms around the eye as the older thunderstorms break down.
Okay, thanks for that explanation. As a matter of fact, as we speak now, rain has started to fall very heavily in Arima.
Mr. Benjamin, CNN is reported.
Hello?
Mr. Benjamin, you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, boy.
That CNN has reported that has been downgraded from Category 4 on Sunday to 3. Is that the same information you're working with?
Yes, I'm hearing that it has been downgraded to a Category 3 at this time, but to say downgraded would make it sound a little, put you off guard a little bit, so to speak, because it is still a very strong and dangerous system. And I believe that lower in intensity is because of the eye wall replacement cycle, so that it could stabilize, remain at that strength, or it could increase depending on the where it goes to and how favorable the conditions are for it. So within 3 and 4, it is still a very dangerous hurricane system.
Yeah, Mr. Benjamin, is it that the system is moving slower than first anticipated?
It has slowed down, but not by much. It was about 31 kilometers per hour moving. It had slowed down to about 20 something, late 20s kilometers per hour. And I believe that is because of its going through its eye wall replacement cycle. So it would have slowed down, and also these systems have a wobble tape. So sometimes it would go direct east, sometimes it would jump. It is called a trochoidal motion. So sometimes the direction would not be exactly to one point, or the average direction would come out as between towards the west or just about 10 degrees north of west.
What kind of conditions can Tobagonians expect? We just spoke to the head of team, Mr. Alan Stewart, in the next couple hours. And at what time, based on the projection models you're seeing, do we expect conditions to intensify or reach peak in Tobago and the northeast of Tobago anyway?
Yes, it is passing close for comfort. Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service has Tobago under a hurricane warning. It means then that we are expecting with a high probability to have Tobago at some point in time experiencing hurricane type conditions as it passes, so that we still have to be on our P's and Q's. I say it's a high probability, so that we still have to be on our P's and Q's towards how the weather is operating. I have been observing. I've been up last night about 3 o'clock this morning. I've heard some weather in the Arima area. I've heard people talk about in other areas. And now, as Richard had said, the rain is falling again. So it is varying somewhat, but we have warnings on, and therefore we must operate as if we expect it to be experiencing the hurricane type weather across parts of Tobago at least, or maybe all of Tobago. And Trinidad, we're looking at the possibility of stormy conditions.
Are you monitoring any other systems out there at this time?
There is one that we have been looking at up as far, and I'm talking about to the east of Trinidad and Tobago and the Los Angeles. I've been looking at that since last week, Wednesday, but Beryl had taken a lot of our energy, so to speak, and it is it's supposed to be somewhere in the mid-equatorial Atlantic at this time, and it is a tropical wave. There is some probability for it developing. Whether it develops or not is going to pass Trinidad and Tobago and the Windward Islands by about Wednesday, and that should give us another bout of weather.
Mm-hmm.
When is this system expected to end, Mr. Benjamin, in terms of this particular storm?
The Beryl will pass us. It will pass. It could speed up a little bit. So maybe for most of the day we will be experiencing effects of Beryl, peripheral effects in Trinidad, and probably some direct effects in Tobago. And it should last for most of the day. The warnings and the alerts are going till 12 noon. As far as the intensity of it is concerned, most of the weather should last for most of the day. And as it passes, tomorrow is Tuesday, as it passes, there's going to be a trailing sort of conversion, a trailing flow from the south and southeast passing across Trinidad and Tobago, and that could probably develop some thunderstorms here and there. But we always have to keep abreast of the latest forecast every 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 4 p.m. because the weather is very variable and changing. So you keep abreast of the latest forecast, and therefore as it unfolds, everyone will be able to understand and know what's happening.
Mr. Benjamin, any reports of damage in East Trinidad? I know, rightly so, most of the attention is placed on Tobago, but we were hearing reports of a lot of rain in Balandra and some parts of East Trinidad. Any reports from those areas that you would have gotten through the Met services?
I have not yet had any reports. In fact, I've been preparing most of the night to deal with the press, to deal with yourselves and others. And I have not had any reports as yet. I have not been able to leave the house to go to work because I'm talking to the nation and to you. And as soon as reports come in, we would put it out on our platforms and see what's happening. Of course, there are other platforms that you have to confirm the information on. But I have not yet had any confirmed report. I've seen a little video clip of the weather looking inclement. I think it's somewhere in Tobago that clip came from. But I've not had any confirmed reports of anything as yet.
When is the next Met Service official update due?
The next update, we're looking at about 8 a.m. this morning for the next update as far as the warnings and alerts and the weather is concerned. So because we have been trying, we've been going beyond measure within the last 24 to 48 hours to give as much information as possible. So we would likely to see just after 8 o'clock the next update coming out.
Is this unusual for a storm of this size to develop this time of year, or is this on normal path projections?
We could say, sometimes you could say it's unusual because maybe it didn't happen within the last few years, but we have been predicting because of the factors involved in the predictions this year, because we have the warm oceans, we have the La Nina coming into play, we have the Atlantic meridional mode, and we have expected it to be a bumper season as far as the development and the numbers are concerned. So if we are to get those numbers, then of course it would start early. And this is what we are seeing because of the predictions that both the Region 4 and the Trinidad and Tobago climatologists have been predicting since May.
All right, Mr. Benjamin, thank you so much for being with us and for your work in following this and keeping us updated. We'll certainly check back in with you as the day progresses to get updates on the Met Services officially.
Yes.
No problem. Let's make sure everybody take care, be safe, don't do nothing extra. the important thing is to just be safe for you, your pets, and your family. Take care.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gary Benjamin, meteorologist.
He did say kilometers, right? I think he said
He did.
kilometers.
I saw when you chuckled at it. I
Said
was going to
kilometers.
ask him.
He said kilometers,
I said,
right?
don't provoke it. He
Gary,
said kilometers.
Gary is still there?
Twice.
Yeah.
You said kilometers, right?
Kilometers? When?
No,
Gary, don't take them on. Have a nice day. Be safe.
All the best to you, Gary.
Yeah.
We'll chat soon.
Don't go in the back and
Yeah. All right. All the best.
Yeah,
I thought the man was off air already, you know.
No, he was still on.
But he did say kilometers per hour.
I really think I read it on the best
kilometers
services.
per hour.
I just do understand them.
I'm now watching some video that Castara, Tobago. The winds have certainly picked up.
Yeah, if you're in Tobago, please give us a call just after 7. We'd love to hear from you.
B.V. Smith. B.V. Smith, the line is open for you alone.
Yeah, Kadeem Khan is saying the eye of Beryl is currently passing south of Barbados and north of Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
That is what is happening now. He did earlier on in a post, in a message, say that by 8 o'clock it is expected. So it's happening a little earlier than that prediction, you know. But it is dark in Arima, and rain. There was a shower of rain just now. It stopped again, you know. So I guess it'll go like this for the entire day. It's a 20 toes kind of weather. Richard, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What legal problems you have now?
I have no issues with 20 toes. I don't have.
Okay. I was just checking.
I thought Paul would have commented on your 20 toes.
Somebody was distracting him in the back there.
I'm speaking to Avril. Welcome back, Avril. You've been missed.
Thank you.
So I say you'd have taken a 20 toes comment.
Yeah, because
sometimes I let it go in the Ragoobarsingh. Don't have to.
But some things you let go. I wasn't sure.
Some things I decided. It's not worth the commentary. What's worth the commentary is all those videos. Let's say good morning to Froggy.
Oh Lord.
Did you see the videos of Froggy? Ragoobarsingh?
No, I haven't. I've heard, I mean, because it comes up on social media, in terms of people commenting, I know whom you're talking about, but I haven't seen any of the videos. That would not come up in my stream. Mackerel does not come up in my stream at all.
Froggy gets frustrated easily, though.
I wish we could share the video, but we can't. We'll be taking over the air forever. I don't know. It's the nurse who was murdered, unfortunately, was laid to rest over the weekend. Really tragic. Her colleagues, but her family, her son, her grandchildren, and her family, and the officiants asked people not to judge her. She would, from all reports, she was a very generous of heart person and would help anybody at any time at a moment's notice. And according to what people are alleging.
I have one thing to say about this, right? And I've said it before.
What's that?
Adults do adult things. End of story. As long as they keep with adult people, they can do what they want.
The issue is not them doing the adult things. The issue is when it becomes public, in one way or another.
And
many of the people who were in the videos did not want it to become public.
Well, the fetish of going under camera, for some people, that's a risk you take. They always tell you when you go in a hotel room now, put your finger against the glass and make sure that you're seeing a reflection. Otherwise, it could be a camera. I don't have the time for that. Wherever they film, they film.
But to spare you having to use your finger for that particular use, there are gadgets you can buy that can scan a room. And
I ain't going through that headache.
Okay, so you can just turn it on and it will tell you, yes, 3 cameras detected. But I mightn't see it.
And some people know their cameras, but they still haven't consented to people distributing the content.
Yeah, but that's a risk. If you know it have a camera filming you, that's a risk. You're taking a risk. Not so?
But I suppose in the high of that kind of activity, at times, people don't mind the filming taking place because they're not in a sober frame of mind. And post the fact,
I have a very good memory. I don't need cameras.
when those issues crop up, then they say, "Oh, why the hell did I?"
You know
My
what people
imagination
send me
is
the videos?
fertile enough.
Pictures and thing?
Huh?
Nothing.
So you've never filmed. None of you have
Myself?
ever filmed. Yeah.
I sure end up on film somewhere. But again,
And let's get
I
into
think the country dealing with too much right now to have that in the mind. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's get into news right now. All right. Here we
Here
go. TV is it.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Hurricane warning red level is in effect for Tobago. Meanwhile, Tobago is under a state of emergency amid the expected passage of Hurricane Beryl. All public servants are required to work today. The ODPM assures all systems in place to carry out response to situations during forecasted bad weather. And the Works Ministry says emergency equipment on standby to address landslides and landslips should they occur. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel-Bob. Good morning. A hurricane warning red level is in effect for Tobago. This advisory was issued at 5 a.m. this morning. This means there is a higher potential for hurricane conditions, including sustained winds in excess of 118 kilometers per hour within the warning area. In this case, within the next 7 hours. As of 5 a.m., Hurricane Beryl was located near 11.7 degrees north, 59.9 degrees west, approximately 93 kilometers northeast of Tobago, moving west near 31 kilometers per hour. Periods of showers and gusty winds have been observed, and further deterioration is expected with gusts in excess of 70 kilometers per hour. There is a high chance 90% of hazardous seas with large battering waves. Mariners should expect wave heights to increase significantly, posing a danger to small craft, coastal and offshore activities. Strong currents and choppy seas will make navigation hazardous. The next update will be at 8 a.m. today or earlier if necessary, according to the Meteorological Office. Tobago is under a state of emergency as the sister isle prepares for the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Confirmation of this came from Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Farley Augustine. He made the disclosure at a news briefing held on Sunday. Augustine revealed on Monday all schools in Tobago, whether private or public, will remain closed.
All schools, both public and private, are closed tomorrow, and they will remain closed until further notice. There will be no work for THA staff except for those who are in essential services. Only essential services are required out to work tomorrow, Monday.
He said non-essential workers too have been advised to stay at home, while only essential workers would be required to report for duty. Focus on the media, or rather he told the media that focus will be placed on emergency health care, which will be prioritized, and all clinics, including health centers and elective surgeries, will be postponed until further notice. Both the Roxborough and Scarborough hospitals will target any emergency cases arising out of the passage of Beryl.
1. Healthcare. TRHA has engaged their EOC, and so regular services have been suspended at their health centers. The health centers will not be providing regular services tomorrow. There will be no elective surgery. The Roxborough Hospital and the Scarborough General Hospital, they will be operating their accident and emergency
Well, Trinidad is presently under a tropical storm orange warning. This means there's a high potential for tropical storm conditions, including sustained winds of 63 to 118 kilometers per hour within the warning area over the next 7 hours. As of 5 a.m., Hurricane Beryl was located 11.7 degrees north, 59.9 degrees west, approximately 93 kilometers northeast of Tobago, moving westward near 31 kilometers per hour. There is currently a high chance of hazardous seas with large battering waves. Well, meanwhile, Augustine describes Hurricane Beryl as potentially the most violent storm to hit Tobago following Hurricane Flora, which was a Category 3, which destroyed over 83% or 6,250 of the 7,500 homes on the island in 1963. At that time, 18 people were killed during Flora's passage. Property and crop loss was estimated at $30 million. Augustine called on people not to treat lightly the approaching Category 4 hurricane, but to be prepared.
About 75% of the trees forming the forest reserve actually fell, while most of the remainder were severely damaged. This is 1963. Now in 2024, today we are expecting a Category 4 hurricane.
Chief Meteorologist Shakir Baig says the hurricane is expected to intensify according to the forecast that is being closely monitored. Baig, speaking at a news briefing on Sunday, revealed Trinidad has been placed under tropical storm watch while Tobago is under hurricane warning. He said this position was arrived at following information received from the Hurricane Hunter aircraft through the National Hurricane Center, which is monitoring the weather system.
Which discovered that the storm force winds were emanating to about miles out of the center of the system. As a result of this, there is the possibility of northern Trinidad experiencing some storm force winds as the system tracks across the Windward Islands.
Meanwhile, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management has indicated it's liaising with various stakeholders to ensure efficient response to situations which may arise from Hurricane Beryl. Retired Major General and Chief Executive Officer of the ODPM, Rodney Smart, says it's working with several bodies from civil societies, the public and private sectors. Smart said all the national agencies have confirmed their readiness. However, he noted the need for the population to be prepared in light of expected high winds, rain, and flooding.
Prepare yourself, prepare your family, prepare your community. It means that if you have hanging trees over your roofs, you have to move them. It also means that if your guttering isn't clean, you have to treat with it. We will be flooded. And please do not walk in flooded waters unless you have to. Please do not drive in flooded waters. We recall in Sandy Grande 2 years ago, where there were people moving in flooded water who nearly drowned.
All public servants are expected to turn up for work today, even as TNT prepares for the effect of Hurricane Beryl. Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Faris Al-Rawi, explained yesterday that while there are first responders whose services will be required, other employees in the public sector are also needed to ensure the nation's affairs continue. He made the disclosure in response to a question posed to him at a media briefing held on Sunday. Don't panic, and all will be done to ensure normalcy is returned should there be flooding in low-lying areas, as well as landslips and landslides across Trinidad and Tobago. This is the message that came from Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan. He says landslides and landslips are also expected, and individuals are assured the Ministry of Works and Transport, in a state of readiness, will be addressing challenges should they arise. Persons were also called to avoid areas impacted by landslides if there is no need to do so, especially as emergency vehicles move in to ensure normalcy to areas affected.
We are quite prepared. This is not the first time we are doing it. As Minister of Works and Transport, this is my I think my 8th year of actually being prepared for this time of the year. We are prepared. There's no need to panic. But what we ask is for cooperation from all the citizens, and we will ensure that at the end of this period that we will bring back life to some level of normalcy in the shortest possible time. Thank you.
Well, Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez says several emergency measures have been implemented, particularly for Tobago. Gonzalez appealed to citizens to get their information from official sources only. He also urged the public not to panic despite the severity of the weather. In addition, the minister said with regards to Tobago's electricity supply, a mobile generator has been placed in Shaw Park. He said emergency crews are also on standby to deal with any incidents.
We have ensured that all our emergency vehicles from the Commission are staged at Shaw Park in Tobago to ensure that we respond decisively and in a critical manner to any reports of disruption on that part of the island. Crews have been mobilized, they're on standby, rations have been placed in effect to ensure that our crews are taken care of, and we're ensuring that all our private contractors are strategically placed to be able to respond to any reports of disruption.
Our newsroom understands that there are places in Tobago at present without electricity. They include Charlottesville and Castara. Of course, we will continue to update you on the situation in Tobago and also in Trinidad as the day progresses. Well, details into preparation taken by TSTT, Swim Call, and the Water and Sewage Authority was also given yesterday, which included placing standby generators at key points and having excavators in the windward part of Tobago and northern part of Trinidad should the utilities infrastructure be affected.
All standby generators that have been put in place to support these facilities have been fueled. We have also stockpiled on chemicals to provide up to at least 5 days of supply to some of the water treatment facilities. We have also ensured that our bonded contractors have been mobilized and they are deployed to be able to provide the necessary support to WASA emergency crews. WASA operators have also been monitoring our emergency shelters to ensure that we have a sufficient supply of water in the event that citizens have to report to some of these emergencies centers to protect themselves and their families.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. At 7 p.m. Sunday, Grenada was placed under a state of emergency due to the pending passage of Hurricane Beryl, a dangerous, now downgraded Category 3 hurricane that is projected to hit the island with storm conditions. Grenada was placed under hurricane warning at 8 p.m. on Saturday, along with Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell, in a news briefing on Sunday, urged citizens to pray and prepare. Let's find out what the Meteorological Office is saying we can expect today weather-wise. Trinidad and Tobago, or rather Tobago and the southern windwards, cloudy to overcast conditions with widespread showers, frequent thunderstorm activity, gusty winds in excess of 65 kilometers per hour associated with the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Gradual improvement can be expected by the evening. Hurricane warning in effect for Tobago remains intact at a red level. Trinidad and the remainder of the rest of the Lesser Antilles, cloudy to overcast conditions with scattered showers, extended periods of light rain. There's a high chance of scattered thunderstorms accompanied by gusty winds in excess of 55 kilometers per hour, street or flash flooding, and gusts likely in the event of heavy downpours. Tropical storm warning remains in effect for Trinidad at the orange level. Expected temperature high of 29 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport, and 28 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, the temperature is 26 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 27 degrees Celsius at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, a hurricane warning red level in effect for Tobago. Tobago under a state of emergency amid the expected passage of Hurricane Beryl. All public servants are being required to report to work today. ODPM assures all systems in place to carry out response to situations during forecasted bad weather, and the Works Ministry says emergency equipment on standby to address landslides and landslips should they occur. I'm Avril Sintilbab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail and updates on weather forecasts throughout the morning and throughout the day. And of course, the news in full at 12 noon and an update coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you, Avril. Good to see you once again. So of course we'll hear from Evie again come 8 o'clock this morning for our news brief. All right. Of course, traffic wise, there is no traffic anyway. There's one accident by the O'Meara lights, but the roads are very quiet.
They're conspiring to shut you down, Steve.
Of the avenue, and there's not a car passing.
Steve?
Huh?
They're conspiring to shut you down.
Why? What
With
happened?
no traffic.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'll get anxiety attack.
I want to say a special good morning to Riri and Marsha Thomas, and they'll know why. When somebody could just put your name out there, just say Wendell. That's a special person. Morning, Riri, and morning, Marsha.
Because we were engrossed in updating the public under these conditions, we did not pose a question yet, which we can do now if you gentlemen agree.
We didn't do headlines or do a poll.
Sorry?
We did not do headlines.
And we didn't do headlines either. So we can do both and a question. Wendell, I'll pass the poll over to you this morning.
I have a Guardian. I have the Guardian, so I can read the Guardian. If you
want to get me poll in this weather? Let Richard do the poll.
Since when you break, so I'm sharing a poll.
What the?
In this
Right.
weather,
We do have Minister Rohanson and coming up in about 10 minutes. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, look at that. So,
And then we have
go ahead, do the headlines quickly.
ODPF, Mr. Rodney.
You can go with the usual poll under these conditions. Do you think TNT is ready?
Oh, you're not doing headlines?
To respond. Well, yeah, we could do headlines too. We could do both.
Well, I could start with the Guardian. The Guardian for today, the front page. And of course, today is July 1st, 2024, just in case you didn't know. And the main headline that the Guardian went with this morning was Beryl barrels in. So they did a little alliteration there for you. State of emergency declared in Tobago. Hundreds tried to flee to Port of Spain. The main picture is that of like a radar image of the storm, well, the hurricane, I should say. And then there's also another photograph of the airport in Tobago. Is this the airport in Tobago just now? Let me check. No, it's not. Sorry, that's my bad. Passengers wait to board a ferry to Trinidad at the port of Scarborough yesterday. So that's the picture. What that picture is. All schools closed nationwide. That would account for the less traffic on the road, including some people not going out to work, I guess, because they're flooding and all those issues. All schools closed nationwide. And of course, on the back page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, which is the sports page, main headline is Puran makes cut. Lone Windies player and ICC team of the tournament. And the main picture is that of, what is this? Simplex's Sol Frederick Wright sprints ahead to win the women's 200 meters dash final ahead of second place Riari Thomas left in the NAAA National Junior and Senior Championships at the Hasty Crawford Stadium. That's the main picture. So now you know what the Guardian is saying.
Those games need more people attending.
Over to you, Paul, and the Express and the News.
I'm being distracted by this woman this morning here.
We can see that.
Good morning. It's Monday the 1st.
What more viewers are seeing?
Come on. Let's show them. We're actually not the same person, you know. I know you all think so sometimes.
Good morning. Hi, Richard. How are you?
I am good and even better.
That is awesome. How are you, Wendell?
I'm great, AV. Rub up on him,
Sure.
let him get some of that nice smelling perfume in his wedding.
Smell nice. Oh, if you smell nice.
A bit.
But her husband is just in the corridor, so we shouldn't be rubbing up
Makes those
patrol.
perfumes, you know.
Her
You know that,
husband
right?
is just in the corridor.
You know her husband. You know it's her husband who makes those perfumes that she wears.
Yeah. All right, let's get in. I have to call Mr. Sinanan shortly.
Calm down, Steve. Calm down.
No, I'm on a time. It is when I have a window with them.
There's no traffic this morning to report. Calm down. Good morning. Let's go to the express. Murder in Tobago moves in. SOE in Grenada. Tobago braces for direct hit. Historic hurricane. Beryl targets islands. Yachts rush to TNT for safe haven. And don't judge Sadner. Of course, the relatives of the slain nurse and beauty queen urged the public not to judge her as they send prayers and positivity to her grieving family members and colleagues. Let's move to the Guardian, the news there now, sorry. Joint Chamber set up disaster relief account. Tobagonians take precautions, seek refuge in community centers. Hurricane warning in effect for Tobago. Energy Chamber, UE remain closed as stated precautions. TNT closes service centers. Emergency call centers open. Murder in Tobago amid hurricane watch. And no CAL flights before 1 p.m. on July 1st. We'll update you on the CAL schedule as the morning progresses. And Hurricane Beryl closes schools in Trinidad and Tobago. That's for today. Hines, more soldiers sent to Tobago for hurricane. And temporary adjustments to court operations in lieu of hurricane. So those are trending stories in your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, July 1st.
I think the judiciary has rescheduled cases today. I think the judiciary has rescheduled cases today. So I don't think there are any cases on today.
Right. So should I pose the question that I've come up with?
Well, I think Steve is trying to get on to Minister Sinanan, so maybe you'll have to pause.
Yeah, could do both.
You know, I have a bizarre...
All right, I do have Minister Rohan Sinanan online. So good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning, members of the studio. Good morning to your listening public throughout Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Caribbean.
All right, thank you so much. Of course, it's Paul, Wendell, and Richard and myself on the show.
Paul, Wendell, and Richard. Oh, so they were able to get up. Okay.
Yeah, no sometimes Richard is get late. He can't wake up on time. He's not an early riser like us.
I'm probably the earliest.
All right. Are all things in gear for this passing of hurricane through the islands?
Well, so far, our whatever plans we would have put in place, everything is holding as expected. We do have of some fallen trees in the Toco area. That is being attended to. It has not blocked off the road or anything. We have been able to allow one single lane of traffic while they work on the other lane. So that is really the only major incident we have in Trinidad so far. Tobago is reporting on what is happening across there, so I wouldn't get into that part of it. But so far in Trinidad, we have not had any major reports of any flooding or anything. However, the rain is falling now. It's very, very overcast. And we are prepared for, what is expected if this weather continues.
Yeah. Well, I know there was a riverine alert yesterday. So I suppose there must be some concern with some of our waterways in terms of what capacity they are at. Is that being monitored?
But yeah, the thing about it, I keep reiterating that flooding has to do with the volume of rainfall and the capacity of the channel. We would have done a lot of work, which we normally do at the start of the dry season. However, we do have capacity challenges in Trinidad based on the type of the weather pattern now, where you have these major downpours in a short space of time. That affects the capacity in the rivers. We are expecting, from what I saw, about 150 millimeters of rain, which is quite a lot of rain. I don't think our channels could actually handle that, especially when you have a low tide and a high tide taking place every 6 hours. So our infrastructure will be challenged with that volume. However, we are prepared, and in the event that happens, we do have equipment if they have any blockage anywhere that we can remove them, although it's difficult to remove them while there's flood and the rain is falling. But we do the best that we can. And yes, there are some concerns. However, we feel that we will get a very fast runoff because we have done a lot of work in the dry season in terms of the drainage division.
Minister, could you give us an update on the air bridge and sea bridge as we speak now? I know that there were some changes. Could you just give us an update?
Right. So yesterday, what we did on both the air bridge and the sea bridge, they put in extra steel in, and Carl put in extra flights. However, last night about 8 o'clock, we had to close off the flights coming out of Tobago because there was some increase in the activity, the wind activities coming out of Tobago. So Carl had to shut off, I think, at 8 o'clock, although it was planned to go on to 10 o'clock. Similarly, the last vessel would have left Tobago last night would have been about 8 o'clock, which would have been the Cabo Star. The passenger vessel left about 6 o'clock. So we went to to try to go to the end. However, we had to ensure that, the vessels and the aircrafts were back in Trinidad, landed and secured before any thing started, any heavy winds or anything started. So we did a lot yesterday. They added flights, they added sailings, and we shut off. We are looking to resume at about 1 o'clock today. Once that happens, then we will look in terms of putting in additional sailing and additional flights.
And I'm guessing the ferry service is not operating at this time.
No. We wouldn't operate at this time. We have the vessels anchored outside because we have to secure the vessels until it is safe to actually have them operating again.
No, yesterday, Minister, a message was shared about vessels coming down from Grenada and the other islands that we would assist in mooring them here. What could you give us an update on that, and where would those vessels be lodged, and where would the people who brought those vessels here be lodged?
Okay, so that is a combination between Ministry of Finance, which is Customs, the Maritime Division. That is a normal procedure. Remember, we have actually considered a shaded area for the maritime, these vessels during the hurricane season. So it was normal to have these vessels because some of the islands were dead on target for the hurricane. So these vessels would come down, they would anchor certain areas that we call the safe areas. Some people would stay on the vessels, as some will come off, and there are a lot of hotels in Chagram area, so that people will book into once they clear the customs and immigration. But that is a normal process that takes place around the hurricane season.
So this is just simply an accommodation for those folks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to add again,
Minister Silverman, good morning. Are there particular regional corporations that are receiving additional attention because of their proximity to rivers this morning?
Well, yes, that is again, we have two seasons in Trinidad, the rainy season and the dry season. Once the rainy season starts, the corporations that are vulnerable will have their contingencies kicked in. Through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, they will identify the needs for the different corporations and put it in place. Now, Trinidad, the geography of Trinidad is different. Some corporations might be prone to flooding, others might be prone to landslips. And the corporations are configured to suit the requirements that they may have. There are some corporations where with the downpour of rain, you may not get as much flooding, but what you'll get is a lot of land movement and landslips. And there are other corporations, because most of it is low-lying areas that water is expected to pond, where you have more rivers and so. Those areas are more susceptible to flooding. So every area is unique, If you look at the North Coast, basically you have a lot of landslips and down trees, and so if you look at Tifaria, you might find more flooding and so.
All right.
Minister, I know this is a question you've answered before, but it's really a sore point for Trinbagonians and in particular people who use Port of Spain regularly. When you looked at what happened, and it's a high tide, low tide issue, when you looked at what happened on South Key again on Friday, should we look forward to some sort of resolution for that anytime in the medium to long-term future? Because it just seems that...
Okay. So, we put in additional drains on South Key, additional pumps and so, and it seemed to be holding for a while. However, the weather pattern is changing. If you notice what happened in South Key a couple of days ago, we got a major downpour. There was some garbage that came down and blocked some of the grills and so. However, within 20 minutes, the water ran off. It means the drains are working, the pumps are working. But this is a phenomenon that is happening around the world. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, in Miami, there was a similar incident. There was a major downpour and the water rose to about 3 feet. Now, those are things that your infrastructure will be challenged, because if you have to cater your infrastructure for those sort of a downpour, it means you have to redo your entire infrastructure. Port of Spain has its challenges because Port of Spain evolved over time where a lot of the drains, underground drains, don't have the capacity for this type of rainfall that we are getting now. So we do have a study going on in Port of Spain. It is not an overnight fix, but yes, there are plans in place to try to ease that problem. However, it has a lot to do with flash flooding. Port of Spain gets a lot of flash flooding, but if you look at in terms of how fast the water recedes in Port of Spain, that is one plus that we have. But yes, there are plans to improve the drainage system in Port of Spain to deal with that.
The next comment is a joker.
Can be effect on Port of Spain.
Maybe PTSA should invest in some pirogues.
Well, the actual flooding is really on the South Key, on the outside there, where
you're not supposed to respond, right? I'm being facetious.
Well, the thing about it is the challenge of flash flooding now is around the world, and I mean we have been saying it for a while. Trinidad will not be spared. What we have to do as citizens is try our best with our garbage, and if we could, control what happened in Port of Spain recently. What we noticed is a lot of garbage was floating around on our underground drains. Every time we go in and clean, all right, we have to clean sometimes twice and 3 times in the rainy season. It's a lot of garbage that is blocking the flow, and in some cases the water don't even get to the pumps because they are blocked with garbage. Every time you get a downpour, you have to go in and clean garbage on the drain. So we all have a part to play, but we are living. And I mean, look at this hurricane. This is the start of the hurricane season, and the first hurricane to form, at this time is something that we expect probably coming. I mean, in September. All the analysts are saying that it is so unlikely that a hurricane at this size would be formed at this point in time. So we have to deal with what we have to address what we're faced with, and we have to make that adjustment. And as citizens, garbage, how we dispose of garbage is a major problem. I was on the bus route just a couple of days ago, and a lot of the drains on the bus route that take the water out were blocked.
Minister, I'm glad you mentioned that. Why is there seemingly no effort to upgrade the overpass coming into Port of Spain from the Beetham Highway over the overpass over the market? That is in such a state of
that flyover is horrible.
What you have there is you're talking about the joints on the flyover, right?
Yes.
Right. So we have found a system where, you see, when that was constructed, it was constructed with a sort of steel joint that is there for flexibility. Unfortunately, what was used to seal the joint, again, because of the sort of weather pattern that we have here, it did not hold out for too long because it started to crack very often. It's really the joint that allows for flexibility on the overpass. That was the system that was used then. So we have found a remedy for it, and I think maybe by next month it's something that we have to import to seal the joints that will give us a longer lifespan on it. That is really the joint on it.
When do you think that can be rectified, though? Because what's happening, a lot of people are taking that flyover but come into a complete stop.
Yeah.
And what is happening that people coming off the highway now realize they're in a complete stop, and there have been a few accidents because of that.
All right. So I'm hoping that within the next month, the solution will be applied to it.
All right.
And that will solve that problem. It's really a problem with the joints that when it was constructed.
Yeah.
It was constructed like that. But because again, the weather pattern, the joints are not holding the way it would have.
Well, it's there for expansion and so on.
Another issue, Minister, that has been more and more coming to our attention is the issue of the changing directions in the middle lane between Mount Lambert and St. Joseph, which does not have directional traffic lights, and it's almost like take your chance and go when you feel to go. Between 2 is this and between 7 is this, and it's confusing.
So you would recognize just recently in the budget, I'm asking to put on your sensorial hat now. I did speak about an upgrade where we actually using more gantry signs and lighted signs to indicate the reverse lanes. What we have happening there is that we have 3 lanes, but because it's painted on the road, people don't necessarily understand how the reverse lanes operate. So we are going to introduce reverse lanes in different areas in Trinidad. However, the signage that we'll be using will be now more overhead signs, digital signs. So that will make the drivers more aware of how to use these reversible lanes. There are certain areas we just don't have space to put 4 lanes. So what we do, like coming into Port of Spain, you will have 3 lanes, 2 lanes on a morning and 1 going out. And on an evening, you reverse that. But obviously, the signage on it will be improved, and that should give us some relief because there are certain areas that you just don't have the space to put 4 lanes.
But driving in Trinidad is such a lawless issue that people wouldn't study that,
Well, at the end of the day, there's your enforcement comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
The same drivers who seem to use that as an excuse in Trinidad, when they travel abroad, they drive quite differently. It's just about the enforcement.
Exactly. Like driving left except to overtake. Nobody has studied that. Yeah.
It's as we say, it's a Trini thing.
It's a Trini thing. Minister, thank you so much for chatting with us this morning. Any more questions, gentlemen?
And Minister, just a little fatigue before you go. Go in the gym and build up some muscles. You have people teasing you.
Yeah, hello, that's natural muscles I have.
You tell him. Thank you, Minister. All the best to you. Have a great one.
All right.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the rain is so hard now in Arima. I can hear you all,
That's what I'm hearing.
It is pouring rain here in Arima.
As at 12:15 a.m. from Caribbean Airlines.
Oh, you have to talk a little louder to help me.
Where's my...
You have a volume.
Typing hard here. BW 616 Trinidad Guyana's new departure time is 1 p.m. BW 616 Guyana to Toronto is now at 3:20 p.m. BW 617 Toronto Guyana 10:45 p.m. BW 617 Guyana Trinidad 6 a.m. July 2nd tomorrow. BW 414 Trinidad Jamaica 12:30 p.m. BW 414 Jamaica Nassau 3:50 p.m. Jamaica time. Of course, these are connections. BW415 Nassau Kingston 7:30 p.m. BW415 Kingston Trinidad 9:20 p.m. Jamaica time. BW482 Trinidad Orlando 1:30 p.m. BW485 Orlando Trinidad 7:30 p.m. BW484 Trinidad Miami 2 p.m. BW483 Miami Trinidad 7:35 p.m. BW463 Guyana Trinidad 1 p.m. BW480 Trinidad Fort Lauderdale 2:30 p.m. and BW481 Fort Lauderdale Trinidad 8:05 p.m. You can check out Power 102's website for izzo.com for Caribbean Airlines updated schedule of flights.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you so much, Paul. Of course, Tobago is getting
Because
some
Paul,
wind
you
now.
gotta read it differently.
I just got a video out of Mount
You
Irvin.
need to listen carefully when I read this schedule so that it may elucidate you and you may have a better understanding of when your flight is due.
Paul Lego, man. I like
I'm
that
not
name
saying
rolls
a
off the
word.
tongue.
That is my good friend.
Will never be.
Hey, Richard, your mic muted.
I don't have to over enunciate to make a point of clarity.
Yeah, talk a little slower.
Oh, I tell him the world is seeing his snarkiness. You forget the world seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
I did a big favor there for free. I did Carl's whole schedule. Don't you think it's that's public service? We didn't get sent for that, but I think it's in the interest of public interest to do it. So they should say thanks.
Yeah.
And I read it slow too.
Okay, Mr. Legault.
All right. So it's raining by you, Wendell, and Arima. I understand it's raining heavy in Curep as well. I have no idea what Port State is looking like. I'm getting some videos. We're going to speak with Mr. Rodney Smart in 1 minute.
You're mad, right?
Okay. You know those hurricane, what they call them, hurricane hunters, the planes?
Yeah, there are two of them there.
Huh?
Yeah, two there right now.
You know, I have a bizarre wish to fly with one of those.
Me too.
Just to see what it's like.
Me who like flying. Want to find a hurricane hunter plane.
It's bizarre. I'm just curious as to what that experience is.
Yeah.
Why don't just jump on a plane to Tobago?
Yeah, you can YouTube it to the rich.
I mean, YouTube it, Steve. That's not the same thing.
I know, but you can see how it looks. I've seen this gone in. All right, so we're going to get Rodney Smart now.
That must be more exciting than any roller coaster.
Did we do the poll at all?
No, we didn't do any poll.
No, we'll have to
do interviews. And after this, we'll be taking calls from our audience members who have not been allowed to interact with us this morning yet.
Yeah, but a lot of folks are sending messages, giving us updates of where they are. So we appreciate you very much. Franklin Bihari, Angela Collier Lewis.
No poll today, Gil. No poll today.
All right, so let's get into Mr. Rodney Smart, retired Major General. Major General, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Morning to you, morning to Richard, morning to Wendell.
And Paul. Don't forget Paul, he'll cry.
Paul, yes.
He'll cry.
Good morning.
Morning, Rodney, my friend.
Morning, my brother. Morning.
All right, well, let us start. Do you have an update for us?
All right, so what we have, in fact, just coming out of Tobago is that there seems to be power outage situation on the northern and eastern side. There seems to be some fluctuation, of course, and Tech is moving to treat with that right now.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'll tell you, Major General, Bethel, Mount Irvin, Roxborough, Charlottesville, Mount Grace, Moriah, Scarborough, Black Rock, Mason Hall, Calder Hall, Argyle, Bloody Bay, Castara, all out of power.
Well. Yes, we just got out in as well. Yes.
And I'm getting some pictures out of Mount Irvin and Pigeon Point, and the wind has certainly picked up.
Right, okay. Well, thanks for that information.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've also in Trinidad we've had a situation where the only incident, well, I would say one of note that we've heard about so far is a fallen tree in Kumana that would have blocked the road, and TNTech lines as well as CSCT lines would have been impacted. I know the Ministry of Works and Transport was moving to assist with that. You may have heard in Tobago they had some fallen trees as well. Charlottesville, Mount Grace, Annesville, and in Friendsfield. All these are being dealt with.
All right.
Are there any expected situations in East Trinidad, particularly where we understand there was a lot of rain over the weekend, heavier than what we expect in the rest of the island?
Okay, if I can just ask you to repeat that. I am having rain here, so I'm speaking to you all through the rain on this end.
Are there any additional reports of damage in East Trinidad in particular?
Okay, none that we have received so far. Just that one in Kumala. And then this will have happened overnight.
And all the regional corporations are prepared and have the resources they need?
Oh, yes. The regional corporations have been preparing for the past 3-4 days. And they, as they have indicated, are in a position to provide immediate support, as well as the support that would be provided by other agencies of the private sector, the public sector. And I think I would have mentioned yesterday, we've brought in as well civil society organizations that have indicated their willingness to support.
Rodney, sorry, Major General, let me call you by your correct name, even though we know one another since we're 4 years old. What are these? Give us an idea of some of the shelters that people can go to in the event that something worse happens.
All right, the Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development and Local Government have put out a number of shelters, and I think it's number 162 of them, I think. That's in Trinidad, and in Tobago, I think there's a list of 35. If you go on the website, right, you can get those, but I mean, I have them in front of me, but there are quite a few.
Okay, no problem.
Are there any rivers that the ODPM is monitoring because of their tendency to overflow their banks, given the water saturation levels in terms of the water tables that may be occurring now?
Right. Well, last year you may recall that we would have initiated a project with the Water Resource Agency, the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government, and with funding from the UNDP, in fact, the EU in particular, we would have initiated a project both in Trinidad and Tobago. And that would have been to ensure that we put what we call community flood early warning systems in 7 districts. So those are being remotely monitored, and so far the river levels are being contained so far.
All right.
Can you tell us where those 7 districts are? Do you have it in mind?
Sorry? No, I'm saying we're using the technology to assist us in being able to monitor the rivers. But additional to that, we also have eyes on the rivers, and we've asked the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, as they do their patrols, to provide us with information if they see, anything that is untoward that we need to know about.
All
right. Well, I guess we got at this throughout the day. Thank you so much for your time, Major General.
Thank you, and be safe.
Sure.
And we'll keep in touch.
If I'm unavailable, I'll ask my communications officer to speak with you all.
Not a problem.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
Good, man. All the best.
Rodney's a St. James boy. Eh? We grew up together. We went to school together. We lived not too far from one another.
Sorry?
Yeah. I know the entire smart family. So, Finbar Collins, make up your mind if you're in double palm or if you're in work. Because you first say, where you say that song, I am in double palm, safest place to be. And then you want us to ask the Major General if why we out to work today. Why we being forced to work today. So you're working in double palm? Is that what you're saying?
Which double palm in which constituency?
I have a double palm literally on my doorstep here. I've
Wendell,
never visited it.
You don't have a double palm. You are a double palm.
There is a double palm on my doorstep.
I think the better question is there a constituency without a double palm?
We have a few minutes to open the phone lines.
Yeah, we should take some.
Our lines are now open. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans 866-525-1099. That's absolutely toll free, of course. And of course, people can still send their messages, but we prefer calls at this point. So 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans 866-525-1099.
And with all the drama there at Parliament every day this week, which is unusual.
Yeah. Not before you go on your big break.
The House is sitting today, the Senate tomorrow, the House Wednesday, the Senate Thursday and Friday. Which is highly unusual.
Yeah. Barbados is getting some serious wind at this time.
But I know they say the northeast part of a hurricane is always the most ferocious, huh?
Yeah. All right. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Not bad at all.
All right, this is Slick Money Grip.
Hey, Slick Money Grip. Twice, boy.
This is for you. I spoke to our friend Gary last night. He's doing well. He's at home.
You need to send me that number, because the number I have for Gary out of service. And I find that very strange.
You may probably get him on WhatsApp, so I'll try and send it to you.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Okay. I'm sure another accustomed to that.
Yes. Okay?
All right.
So, and thank you for all your information.
Yeah, I know he's home now. He's resting.
Yes.
He's being miserable.
He's sounding great. Yeah. Miserable.
Gary is always miserable.
He has a lot of babysitters.
Yeah, he does. He likes that pampering.
Oh, yeah, pamper.
He loves it. Yeah, it's going through on WhatsApp. All right. Thank you, Slick Money Grip.
Wendell, take care.
All right, who's out there?
Slick Money Grip.
Slick Money Grip.
Oh, Slick Money Grip. All right. Gary and I born the same day, so I know you like pamper.
Oh, yeah, that's your partner.
Yeah, man.
Have a wonderful day.
All righty. All the best. India is telling me it's getting some serious wind out in the central area.
Well, my nephew just sent me a picture that I trust, a video.
Hello, good morning, gentlemen.
Strong winds in Tobago, because he's actually there.
Yeah, I have video. Good morning.
Good morning to all. I must commend the government and the different agencies for being quite proactive in terms of as Hurricane Beryl passes over Trinidad and Tobago. I must give them commendation. First, I hope people use the opportunity. Don't use the opportunity to bring politics into this. This is a time where always support a political party. Well, me, I am apolitical. I think one should be neutral and give the government commendation. Each regional corporation will have a disaster management unit. So I know that is activated. In Central, it has been raining for the last 40 minutes thereabouts. So I know in the Savaki Kalpara Regional Corporations, I know Ragoobarsingh Government Primary School is usually one of the areas where people can collect sandbags. I haven't passed there yet, so I don't know if they have dropped off any sand in terms of filling the bags so forth, but they'll be monitoring in that area.
It's good to see that a lot of citizens went and took advantage of the various regional corporations to get sand.
Yes, yesterday, more in the evening, as the alert was changing from yellow to orange and so forth. So that was good. The only thing is that, we do have this kind of culture of partying. I saw a lot of videos actually up to 11 o'clock last night, people in Tobago in bars liming. I don't know why police had to go and tell you to go home. Before I go, I just want to find out, did the guy from TIMA, because I was switching in terms of following in Barbados Square, did the guy from TIMA give an update in terms of when they will have an official update today? Because I know the last update was around 1 o'clock this morning.
I know Met Office has an update at 8 o'clock. I don't know about Tima.
Okay, I guess that they didn't do that, but I guess they'll be sharing information on social media in a short while because persons will want an update.
Yeah.
I just looked
All
at
right.
the satellite imagery, and Beryl is passing over to Tobago at the moment.
Yeah, they have a lot of wind coming through. I'm getting videos here.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for the opportunity. Good morning.
All right, you too. Let me take one more call. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, okay, not there. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Captain Ron. How are you?
We're good.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you guys are safe and okay, and I pray for Trinidad and Tobago, even Grenada. I was just there a while ago. But I wanted to answer Richard's question. He said he wanted to go in the hurricane hunter in the hurricane. Well, let me tell you, it's not as rough as you think it is. Because, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, because they just enter in and they stay within the eye. They take some measurements and stuff and get out. So they don't fly against the rotation. They fly with the rotation.
Oh.
It's not as hard. It's not as hard as you think it is.
So you don't feel anything then?
Well, they have some turbulence. That's about it.
Yeah, you're gonna feel some turbulence and stuff. The main thing is not the turbulence so much as the lightning strikes. So lightning strikes can damage an airplane.
Yes.
Right? When one hits an airplane, you swear you're driving a car and another car hits you. That's how hard it hit the airplane. You know?
Yeah. But right now, there are two hurricane hunters inside of Beryl.
Oh, yeah. When you have a chance, you come to Florida, you go to Puerto Rico. There's an air base there where they keep these airplanes all year. So you can just go out and you can go into it. Just have proper ID. That's it.
Yeah.
Walk with a passport. And can I go inside the airplane and take a look? Oh, they'll be glad to do it.
Yes.
You know? But it's not as
understand.
bad as one would think it is.
Yeah.
You
All
know?
right. Thank you, Captain Ron.
Yeah, be safe. Don't get washed away.
All right.
Yeah, man.
We'll try not to. All the best.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, let's wrap it up for this 1st of July.
Richard, I'm worried about you and that fetish though. I'm worried about you wanting to experience something like that.
Why?
I just worry.
I want to experience the Arctic too, and I hate the cold.
Never.
That you could do on your own.
Maybe he wants to experience a full-blown blow firsthand, you know.
I want to say, I want to experience the Arctic. I want to experience.
He wants to feel the winds blowing firsthand. He doesn't want
I
second
want to
every time.
experience things like that, you know.
You want 130 miles per hour blow?
That's exactly what he seems to want.
I don't necessarily want to climb any mountain. Like,
Folks,
like the Himalayas or the Mount Everest. I have no desires for those things. I watched a movie with that already, and that was good enough for me. I was tense and anxious for the entire movie.
The one where they
anyway, have a fantastic day, people. Whatever
where
you
they
do.
died and ate one another?
No. Just climbing Mount Everest. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do. Remember that theater is on the 14th of July, which is Sunday, the 14th of July, which is not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Love is a Walk, the final show at Napa. Tickets go on sale shortly at Napa box office and all our usual outlets. I'll keep you posted. And of course, you can buy tickets online. Check RSRR Productions Theater page for all the information. That's RSRR Productions Theater. That's the page. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do, and speak to you about it tomorrow morning.
Let go and let God.
A great day, be safe.
All right. Let's get in. In a minute, we'll get it. I will tell you, there is a little bit of traffic. Valencia's.